I'm gonna be real. This is the second time I've shot this video. Honestly, I just deleted probably about 10 to 15 minutes worth of pre-film before I edit because it was honestly pretty terrible. But this time I'm gonna bring the excitement because it's a pretty important topic that we're gonna be discussing, which is employment and jobs here in Northern Colorado. It's been pretty cool working with individuals coming in from out of state, bringing in jobs, high paying and employment. But ultimately, getting down to it, it's pretty important to understand what does Fort Collins have to offer those people that are moving in from out of state as far as employment goes. Hey everybody, my name is Patrick Soukup with Soukup Real Estate here in Fort Collins, Colorado. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the page, commenting below, liking, giving it a big thumbs up. But as much as I like making these YouTube real estate videos about Fort Collins, I enjoy more working with buyers and sellers and investors here in Northern Colorado. So send me an email, give me a text, give me a call, whatever works easiest for you. But I'd love to work with you here in Northern Colorado. Without further delay, let's jump into what employment and job opportunities here in Northern Colorado look like. Alrighty, even though we're not necessarily dictated by one industry like Detroit and the automaker or Houston and oil, we do have a very strong foundation in our education, specifically Colorado State University. From there, we also have Poudre School Districts, IBMC, and Front Range Community College that really contribute about 12,000 plus jobs. From there, also, we've got government work as far as City of Fort Collins. Our healthcare sector is pretty strong as well. Trades are really important right now. We have a lack of them. So companies like Lynn's, Allen's Plumbing, Hans, Lion Home Service, those are growing quickly, actually listed as some of the fastest growing companies in Northern Colorado because we honestly just don't have enough trades. So one of the things that I talk to younger individuals about when we're discussing about job opportunities, what they should do with their life is go find a trade, electrician, plumber, HVAC. You can get paid a lot of money, and whether you decide to start your own business or join one, it's a high-paying career. You could probably make $75,000 to $100,000 pretty easily here in Northern Colorado. And then it gets really diverse from there. There's no really one employer after that supplies more than 1,000 jobs. So, like I said, government, we've got Larimer County, City of Fort Collins, are higher, supplying jobs, and our tech scene's pretty slow going right now. We do have a company in Madwire that's growing quickly. They're a small business development marketing firm that offers small businesses solutions for marketing. They're about 550 plus employees and bring high-paying jobs to Fort Collins. Now, one of our bigger employers is going to be kind of our technology manufacturing companies. HP, Broadcom, Advanced Energy are going to be some to name a few that supply about 6,000 plus jobs. There's no headquarters here in Fort Collins for those companies, but they do have a strong foothold here in Fort Collins that does supply a pretty significant amount of employment opportunities. The one cool employer that I am extremely excited about is Woodward Governor. About 5 years ago, they chose Fort Collins as their worldwide headquarters. Now, this is a publicly traded company that decided to put its roots squarely here in Fort Collins, Colorado. Now, granted, they did have 2 large employment centers here, but they were choosing between other major metros and chose Fort Collins as their long-term home, which honestly, looking at that from an employment standpoint and economy standpoint for Fort Collins, supplies a lot of confidence and security moving forward. Hopefully we see other, employers come in with higher paying jobs. So between those are going to be kind of our biggest employers: education, healthcare, government, technology, manufacturing. Let's jump into also now who are the specific larger employers here in Fort Collins, which are CSU, Colorado State University, Larimer County, City of Fort Collins, UC Health, and Poudre School Districts. Actually, Poudre School Districts is the number 2 largest employer here in Fort Collins. But when you get downtown, a lot of major metros, their employment's going to be, stacked right here in the center. But ours really isn't that way. We do have service companies, attorneys, CPAs, accountants, psychologists, therapists, banks, and we do have a large amount of those businesses in our downtown area, but our major employers are going to kind of be spread out. As we discussed, Fort Collins really doesn't exceed 3 to 4 stories downtown, and our square footage between those employers, you know, there's not many employers or businesses that occupy more than 2,000 to 4,000 square feet downtown. Woodward Governor sits on 91 acres off of Mulberry and LeMay, which that Mulberry corridor is going to be really cool here in the near future. CSU, obviously, it sits on its own square mile campus, essentially. And Poudre School Districts is spread out between, you know, Wellington, Timnath, Windsor, Fort Collins, and so there's not a huge kind of cluster of employment, which generally is downtown for a lot of areas. But we'll see what the future holds. There are a little bit of developments going on that do exceed that 3 stories, now touching that 4 stories, but those are going to be our 5 largest employers: Colorado State University, Poudre School Districts, City of Fort Collins, Larimer County, UC Health, Poudre Valley, where I was born. And really, I want to finish this video off with things that I'm excited about. Opportunities and industry that I feel like Fort Collins really needs to hammer down on and do better with to be able to afford the cost of living, which obviously we've discussed in previous videos, where a major cost of living for us is housing. And to afford the biggest expense in our personal lives, we're going to have higher paying jobs, which right now is really revolving around technology. Like I said, I did work with just recently clients working for a publicly traded company, large one, that are now able to remote work, and so they're able to move into here in Fort Collins and still keep their high-paying job in a different state. But again, we need to keep those employment, that revenue, that tax revenue in town. So we need to see those jobs and technology companies be created and stay here in Fort Collins. Again, I want to hit on Madwire. It's probably the biggest company here in Fort Collins that's leveraging technology for small businesses. They're about 550 plus employees. But some of the smaller ones that we should look at is LaborJack that's here, BillGo, TurboTenant, Stowit, Jobsology. There are some smaller technology companies that are trying to place roots, and we do have incubators here in town that are trying to develop these smaller startup companies, which hopefully will be larger. Nitrocrete here in Fort Collins is a company that's actually manufacturing concrete, but technology that's used throughout the world, or I should say their product that's used throughout the world. Employment opportunities that supply higher paying jobs. That's probably one of the biggest things that we need to address in the near future. So as much as we don't necessarily rely on one industry or another, again, our education and CSU do supply a strong amount of jobs, so we do want to see that CSU remains and stays strong, but we aren't going to go down. The ship's not going to sink if we lose one industry or another. Hopefully we have the ability to pick up where that place left off, and we have some really strong, risk-seeking, smart business people that take chances here in Fort Collins. So ultimately, Fort Collins has a strong education, government, healthcare, technology manufacturing scene with fledgling construction technology companies and industries making its way through Fort Collins. We're a population of about 170,000 people, and there's not one industry that takes more than 10% of that population. So really the biggest one is education, around 12,000 people. So we are a diverse economy, but do need higher paying jobs, higher wage earners for us to maintain a strong housing prices, just in general, strong housing prices, whether that's appreciating at 5%, 3%, 1%, so long as it's appreciating or staying flat and not going down, I'm happy. Alrighty guys, appreciate you guys watching. Again, I love making these videos. I hope they're as much help to you as they are to me, really pressing myself to understand and learn Fort Collins even more so than I already do. If you haven't already, please, again, consider subscribing to the channel, commenting below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this content, give it a thumbs up. Otherwise, give me a text, call, email if you're looking at moving here to Fort Collins. We work with tons of people moving into town, and we look forward to potentially working with you. So, hope you guys have a great day, and until next time, take care.